Diablo Immortal is a game that created the meme, "Is this an out-of-season April Fool's joke?" The same game that received so much backlash that Blizzard decided to release the game on PC as well as mobile on day one. The best part about Diablo Immortal is that the game looks and plays like a Diablo game. Both the graphics and audio for this game is actually really, really good for a mobile game. Yeah, people need to remember that even though you can play Diablo Immortal on PC, the game is inherently by design a mobile game. That means things like PC options are very, very limited as the game is built for mobile first and foremost. There have been some changes to the Diablo formula in order to make it work for the mobile platform. Things such as abilities are now all on a cooldown instead of using character-specific resources like mana. When you create your character after firing up the game, you will find that you will have 6 different classes to choose from, many of which are familiar to Diablo fans. On top of this, because it is a mobile game, they did simplify the game in a way in terms of builds. Essentially, you only have 2 main skills and 12 secondary skills. This is less than what you will typically find in traditional Diablo games. However, it is good enough to make variety of builds for the game, despite the fact that it is, again, a mobile game first and foremost. One of the small positives that can be taken from this game is that it is cross-play and cross-progression. So you can inherently be at home, play the game on your PC, and then when you're out and about somewhere, you can then log on your phone and continue your play through your same characters and account. So that is the good thing. The game's story itself is actually set in between the events of Diablo 2 and Diablo 3. I'm not going to go into specifics of the story. It is a decent story, but nothing special. If you actually don't play this game and don't care for the story, I mean, you're not missing much, is basically how it goes for this game. That is essentially the best part of what Diablo Immortal brings to the table. Despite being a mobile game, I want to say, before I get into the negatives of this game, is that they have adopted the keyboard mouse controls very well. Diablo has always been, at its core, a PC game first and foremost. And despite Diablo Immortal being made on mobile first, it still uses keyboard mouse really, really well. The touch controls for the mobile are also pretty decent. The issue comes with controllers. Now, while you're in mid-gameplay, controllers are fine. But navigating the menus, it's a chore, it's cumbersome, and quite frankly, like if you're going to use a controller on PC, you might as well not even bother using controller and just use keyboard mouse because it is that much better, and the controller is just so much of a nuisance. Now, that covers the good things about Diablo Immortal. The bad things, and oh boy, the bad things. So let's start with the lightest of the bad things, and that is, despite being a cell phone game, when you go to download it, there have been multiple reports of people having issues running the game on their phone, despite the game itself advertising that it is compatible with said phone. People have said they couldn't get into the game. People said that they would have visual glitches that they made the game unplayable. It is an issue for those players, and I'll be honest with you, this is the lowest issue, which is usually one of the worst. This is the lowest. We're about to get to what makes this game brutal and why you should not be playing Diablo Immortal. So the worst part of Diablo Immortal, again, this is a cell phone game, it's free to play, but I just can't stand this. This game is pay to win. Flat out pay to win. Being able to purchase cosmetics is one thing in any video game. I don't have a problem with purchasing cosmetics. But when you're talking about pay to win And pay to win actually hits you pretty early on in the game, as once you complete the trial section of the game, you now have access to be able to purchase the game's battle pass. And when you look through the game's battle pass, you'll find that specifically the paid tier battle pass, not only does the game give you crafting resources, the resources needed to upgrade your character, but you also get legendary gear and gems. This destroys the core essence of a Diablo game. Everyone knows that once you complete the story of Diablo, you want to max out your character, level them up, play in PvP, make your builds. That's part of it. When you're telling people that if you pay for the battle pass, you have a significant advantage over those who don't, especially in the early game, that's just ridiculous. For shits and giggles, I did purchase the battle pass. I did purchase the first 14 level skips just to see the difference on what it would do to my character, and just getting those gems and I believe 1 or 2 legendary pieces of gear, my character became OP. I was just destroying the game in the early game. Like, it was just ridiculous. And that was just that. I just did it just to make sure I had my facts straight. And this destroys the core essence of Diablo, but this is not even the worst of it. The worst part about it is Diablo Immortal's endgame has been destroyed by this pay-to-win model. Essentially, what you want is legendary gems to augment your character. And these legendary gems are typically acquired by an activity called Elden Rifts. These Elden Rifts are about 3 to 4 minute mini procedurally generated dungeons that have a drop for a legendary gem. Now, the drop rates are pretty low unless you use a legendary crest. Legendary crest will guarantee you a drop of a legendary item. However, legendary gems have a 5-star tier rarity system. And in order to get a 5-star legendary gem, the drop rate is like 0.05%. Like, you have a 99.95% chance of not getting one. Like, it is just ridiculous. Apparently, and what makes it worse is that you need legendary crests to do this, and you're only given like 3 per month. So unless you purchase them, which they are not cheap, unless you purchase them, you cannot run Elden Rifts over and over and over again to get these gems with a reasonable chance of getting a legendary gem. The drop rate is just incredibly low. And if you're someone who wants to just not spend money versus someone who does, you will be left behind in PvP. You'll be left behind in the endgame content. It is literally dog shit. There have been estimates have been done by outlets out there who reportedly said it would take about $110,000 of real-world money to max out your character. That is just ludicrous, in my opinion. The fact that this destroys the essence of Diablo. The whole point is to grind and get super powerful in the end game, and the rewards to time spent is just non-existent. This is pay to win. And to me, I don't want this game to succeed because I don't want Blizzard to get the idea to say, hey, you know what, let's do this for Diablo 4. Hell no. If you need your Diablo fix, go play Diablo 2 Resurrected, go play Diablo 3. Both games are still available. Both games are fantastic to play. If you need your fix, go play that. I probably wouldn't care if this was any other IP, but because this is Diablo, this kind of hurts close to home. To me, pay to win is always a no-go, bar none. And I'm quite frankly throwing the book at this game. To me, do not play this game. This is a disaster. Unfortunately, the core essence of what makes a Diablo game fun is there, but with a pay-to-win model, it destroys the very essence of what it means to play Diablo, especially towards the end game. I'm personally giving Diablo Immortal a 2.5 out of 10. Stay the hell away from this game, even though it's free. If you need your fix, play Diablo 2, Play Diablo 3. Don't bother with this game. Don't set the bad precedent of pay-to-win models for our games, especially our major franchises and AAA games. This is Veteran Gamer, and I hope to see you guys next time.